together. This simply means that you must have encountered casework before. And so it just make it a walkover for me. And you also make the class very interesting from your experience you are going to share. So I would start by telling us that social casework is a fundamental method in social work that has evolved significantly over time. I'm sure we have no argument over that. From time there have been social case work, and it has also evolved because the social work is actually dynamic, and there are also there's also certain level of interactions and components that will interact with the social work itself that will affect the casework. So we cannot deny the fact that it is dynamic, and it must have also evolved over the time to meet the realities of the time where they have been practiced. So I will say that despite various attempts by scholars to define it, professionals often grapple with articulating its meaning with clarity. Social casework is a dynamic and complex process aimed at helping individuals address challenges in social functioning. We look at the work of Perlman, who said that social work involves aiding individuals through human welfare agencies to manage their problems effectively. This is just one sentence that tends to give us a fine description of what social casework is. He all went further to say that a social casework focuses on the individual's adjustment and development, which depends heavily on their social environment and available resources. And concluded by saying that the cornerstone of social casework lies in human relationships and the resolution of psychosocial challenges. I will also stand on his own idea to tell you that the beginning and end of good or effective social casework is relationships. It's not very easy to have an inadequate relationship with clients, and then you can have a good social casework practice. And of course, you know very well, some instances we have some colleagues who get to a bus stop or have a comma with their dealings with their clients, and some others will also come along to take over that case and then push it to conclusion without any issue. The difference between the two here is not very far from the level of relationship that have been takes us to the fact that we need to understand our clients very well and also look at our clients from the individual perspective and understand the difference between each particular client and the other client. Let us take a look at certain definitions that have been that have existed, which come from the work of some authors in some years past. A lot of us are very familiar with the current definitions, but we need to go back to look at what definitions has been on ground as foundation for the social case work for us to build on. So I will say that definitions of social case work have been in existence since 1915. We have one Richmond who actually defined social case work as the art of doing different things for and with different people by cooperating with them to achieve their own and society's betterment. This definition was postulated in 1915. So that gives you an impression or give us impression of how far or how long social case work has been in existence and how long scholars have been working to try to put things together for us to be able to understand effectively what social case work is. After 1915, we have another scholar whose name is Jarrett. Jarrett, in 1919, defined social case work as the art of bringing an individual in a condition of social disorder into the best possible relationship with all parts of his environment. This is a very comprehensive definition. You can imagine the definition that were postulated in 1915 and 1919, and then begin to think of the error a lot of us are committing, that social work is very nascent, and social work is actually a thing of today. And a lot of us can even want to deceive ourselves that in fact that we are the forerunners of social work as far as this profession is concerned. If in 1915, 1919, and so on, 1922, we had some postulations that were We came out of research from scientists. We should be able to know that social work has been in existence for long. Therefore, there is need for us to up our games as far as social work is concerned. And let's look at what direction was cast on social case work definition in 1920. 1920, we have a scholar whose name is Taft. You won't bother writing this down verbatim because this discussion is being recorded. And I want to believe at the end of this discussion, you should be able to have what we are discussing here. So just take reasonable notes and then jot down whatever you want to, but we are going to have this verbatim. So Taft said that social casework means social treatment of maladjusted individuals, behavior, and social relationships to assist them in achieving better social and personal adjustment. Taft, in his definition, took his time to tease out the component of activities that is expected to be carried out by a social caseworker. I want to highlight that once again. He said treatment of maladjusted individuals. Treatment of maladjusted individuals, involving an attempt to understand their personality. From the definition of Jarrett, who hinged his own postulation strongly on relationship, we can agree that what Taft is telling us here is actually an expansion of the work of Jarrett. He is also saying that we should understand there should be a strong attempt to understand the personality of our client, because I've said, like I said in my intro, in the introduction rider, that personality of every person differs, but then it's difficult to approach the clients on a fixed mode and get the result between different clients as well. So behavior, he mentioned behavior and also mentioned social relationship to assist them in achieving better social and personal adjustment. Then looking further, a scholar in 1922, his name by name Watson, said that social casework is the art of untangling and reconstructing a twisted personality to enable better environmental adjustment. In fact, the 1922 definition of social work was actually scaled up from what we have been hearing from 1915, 1919, and 1920. He is coming from the background of understanding of all of the previous definitions by saying that the social casework is the art of untangling. Definitely, you can agree with me. A lot of us are involved in what I'm talking about now. A lot of untangling work exists because you need to pull certain things out of others to make sure that you have a steady and a direct face to manage the situation. So if you are not untangling and you are not reconstructing twisted personality, you might not have said that you have been able to succeed in social case work. So we agree with Watson in his postulation here. Then in 1923, a year thereafter, we have Lee. Lee came in a very simple, straightforward. He said social case work is the art of changing human attitudes. In a very simplified form. He actually was talking to both laymen and professionals, changing human attitudes in all issues that has to do with social case work. The first and final deal we are always focusing on is to change the behavior and change the attitude. Once this is adjusted to some extent, to a reasonable extent also, the case presented will take a different turn or take a different look. In 1949, we have another scholar who also gave a definition of social case work. Mind you, what I'm saying here is not definition of social work. I'm talking about definition of social case work here. So Boas said, and I quote, social case work is an art using the science of human relationships to mobilize individual capacity and community resources for better adjustment. between the client and their environment. And the last we are going to talk about here is the definition that was postulated in 1957, which says that social casework is a method employed by a social worker to help individuals solve problems of social adjustment that they cannot resolve on their own. My question for the class, from this 1915, 1919, 1920, 1922, 1923, 1920, 1949, and 1957, which you have had, which ones do you think appear like what professional social casework is?
The last one, sir.
Why?
The last one as well.
Can you give a reason?
Because that's practically what we do.
No, because
That
what
is
you
what we do.
don't do what the rest have said.
No, it's still it's interwoven, but to hit the nail on the head is just practically what we do. The last one, the definition of 1957.
It's still about what you do. Practical. Any other person? If you agree with her, give a reason. I'm not agreeing with her reason. I agree. I
am actually saying that the last
agree
one
that it appears professional, but her reason is a bit. Sorry?
Yes, I am still buying that because I wanted to say the last one is exactly what a social worker do, and that is social work. You
Yes.
employ.
No, we are talking about social case work here.
Yes, no, that's.
Don't mix it up. There's difference between social work and social case work. Social case work is a fraction of social work. There are many other social work that is not case work. Am I right?
Yes.
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 But when you say that is social work, that's where I disagree with you. If you say that is social case work, yes,
Okay.
but social work, no. The social work is broader than this.
I know. I know.
Okay.
But what I say that
I still don't agree with your reason in total. You are still towing her argument that is what you do. What makes it professional? Is it because you do the thing?
That is what it implies, because you employ methods, any method you use to make sure your clients will be able to listen to you and then get the best out of you for a better life. That is social case, which I think is the best thing we do. We employ every method to make sure that the client will get a better life. Employ everything, even if it takes begging, to make sure that person listens to you and get the best.
We employ relevant things, not everything. When you employ everything, some things that are not part of it will come in. You employ prayers, because I've seen some social workers praying.
We still pray.
Solve problems. No, it doesn't come in. When you pray, what does a person with religious study do? If you are taking over the work of a religious expert, it means that you are unprofessional. And you have to bring in your own method, but not the method of another person, because a religious expert is a different person here. Well, I think we are on it. That Hollis, 1957, says that social casework is a method employed by social workers. That is what makes it professional. Any other person can do casework as well. Yes or no? But when you are not social worker, doing social casework, you are not a professional. It's just like somebody prescribing drug inside a bus. It doesn't make him a doctor. Even when his prescription is right and he's getting the drug that is responding to the treatment, he is not a doctor. So first and foremost, you have to be a social worker to apply the method, because that is the authority in the business here. I think that is where the professionalism comes in here. Having dealt with the definitions, we want to look at the concepts. let's first look at analysis and the meaning. Social casework is an art, just like what Richmond, the first person, said. Do you agree that social casework is an art?
So yes, it's an action. An act is an action. It's a good
art. A-R-T is different from action.
Okay. It's an act because
no. Okay, it's an art. Why is it an art?
Yeah, it's an act of doing things, putting things how in the right position. The act of trying to
No,
put
that
the
doesn't mean art. Can you check your phone on what the meaning of art is? It will cast clarity to it. Action and putting things together is not art. In medicine, things are put together. In engineering, things are put together. In mathematics, things are put together. It doesn't make them art. So why is social work art?
Maybe it's because you need to design a method
Your
to
own
help
method
you get what you want.
or already existing method you need to choose from, or you must design a new method on your own. I'm sure you know that each
Just
time you
like we
design
got
if you design a new method on your own to apply to already exist body of existing knowledge, it is not scientific. Because for any method you need to employ, it must have been an existing method that has been tested. That is scientific approach. Just like a medical doctor, right? A patient comes for amputation. He designed his method and cut the leg the way he wants to amputate. You can't do that. He has to follow a body or already established protocol and body of knowledge that is existing. So if he doesn't do that, what he's doing, he can be sued for that because he's not defendable. If they ask you to defend what you have done, how are you defending it? You are defending it because that is the process, that's a protocol that has been established already. So if you are doing your own, you are not scientific. Even if you get the results, you are not scientific because you can't explain those things scientifically. You cannot also analyze it to let other people understand exactly what you have done. So social work is science, and it's also art. The art aspect of it is that there is some aspect of creativity in it. That creativity makes it an art, is the art component. And that aspect of predictability, applying principles, applying methods, make it a science. So from Richmond, the analysis of his meaning is what I want to give you now. He said that social casework may be defined as the art of doing different things for and with different people. So social casework in this case is not merely a treatment process. What other things goes with social casework aside from treatment process, or what is the treatment process in it?
Sir, come again. The treatments.
Okay, I said in analysis of its meaning that social casework is not merely a treatment process. Do you agree with that?
It's not
it's not like
a treatment process.
Applying drugs.
No, it is treatment. Quite all right, but not merely a treatment process. Because when there are challenges and certain things are applied to the challenges, either method, principles, or things like that are applied to the challenges or therapy, and the challenges is now resolved. It's a treatment. Not all treatment has to be with drugs. Even in the hospital, there are some other discussions, counseling, even nutritional guide and so on can also treat some cases. So they are still part of treatment. But he is saying that social work is not merely treatment process, which is correct. It is the art of addressing individual problems. This art requires continuous learning. I'm explaining the art now for you. Skills refinement. When you are refining your skill, it's an art. You have the skill, you are refining the skill. But when you are doing application of method, it's a science. For you to now read, refine your skill. For instance, I have an MSW, you have an MSW. When we go to a community, if I speak and address each community, they listen to me more. And when you come out or some other person comes out, the community seems to say, this person, I think is going to create more problem for us. The two that are on the same level of learning, one has continuously employed the art of improvement over what he has done before. I hope you are getting me.
Yes, sir.
Good. That is the art we're talking about here now. So this art requires continuous learning, skill refinement. To refine your skills and art, just like lawyers in the court. They went to school, they read the same course. They have the knowledge. But then the choice of how they handle the issues in the court is the art of the profession. Then cooperation to achieve societal and personal betterment. Then the definition, analysis of the second definition, that say that social case work is the technical method. That is in 1939. Is a case work is a systematic technical method of social work. It encompasses structured processes, robust knowledge base, and organized process to solve client problems effectively. Yes, social case work is a systematic, because what makes a treatment systematic is that the first thing has to be touched first, second one comes second, the third one comes third. If we go to the third first, we are going to get it wrong. We might not be able to resolve it. So the systematic arrangement, the systematic arrangement of it, as a systematic arrangement become very important. Then that is where the technical skill also come in, to understand how to arrange them in the hierarchy of occurrence. So it encompasses structured procedure. For you to also carry out a procedure, the procedure must be structured. For instance, in your agency can decide that we carry out interview with the client or clients. It is your business now to sit and structure the interview. If the interview is not structured and the procedure for the interview is not also well laid out and analyzed, then implemented properly, it may not yield the result. Another practitioner can also come on board and then, hello, can you please mute the mic? And still use the interview they said. If he has structured it properly and also arranged it in a systematic way, he can get the result better than the first person who just jumped into it. And then since they say interview, he started interviewing. And then when he talks about organized processes to solve clients' problem, that your processes must also be organized. So three major factors come to play here. One is systematic, two, structured, and third, organized. Then the social case work as a process, which we all know, this postulated by a German, who said that the social case work is a service-oriented process. Of course, that is the truth. Social case work is a service-oriented process. Every social workers are providing services. They are not producing. They are not manufacturing. What they do is they provide services. They are service providers. To some extent, they provide financial aid, counseling, and other resources under organizational policies to assist individuals in overcoming their challenges. But basically, what social workers do is services to people. I want to ask, is there any of us here that has not been involved in casework before? I mean, in the discussion group here. Or can somebody share their experience of handling casework in their own agencies? Yesterday, I told you that your unit is called agency in social work. Your department can be an agency. So when we say in agencies, we are talking about your group. We're talking about your unit. We're talking about your department. We're talking about your division. Can you share with us here, how do you handle social casework in your own agencies? Please unmute and speak. Who wants to speak? Am I on my own?
Not at all.
Oh, thank you so
Prof,
much. Please,
in my
since
agency,
you have unmuted, please speak for others.
okay, sir. In my agency,
How do you manage social casework in your unit? Just
yes,
take
when
your
I
time.
have,
Tell us how the case come and how it is done.
okay, when there is a matter, the clients come directly to the office and report their case, like clients
It's not a
as
matter, it's
complaint.
a case.
A
Hello?
case, complaint,
Hello?
sir. A case,
It's not
a
a
case,
matter. It's called case.
case, sir. Thank you for
When there is
correcting.
a case. Yeah, because social work has its own vocabularies. Go ahead.
Thank you, sir. When there is a case, the complainant come directly to complain in writing. And when it is brought to our desk, we send a report. It could be maybe family matter. We send an invitation to the person, the defendant, whatever we call it, the defendant, he comes on a particular set date where we will look into the matter briefly.
That is what I want to look.
I want
to. Hello. I want to get the details because that is our major discussion. The case is brought to your office.
Yes. Yes. And then
The person
officer
is reporting in writing. The next thing is the desk officer takes the case, right?
yes.
Hello? And it's the desk officer that will invite, the desk officer will now invite a party to the case.
Yes.
Okay.
When they are invited,
it's not a defendant. You are using court terms. Social work cases are social work processes has their own vocabularies that must be used in the operation. You have a case reporting. You also have parties to the case, not the defendant. Party to the case are those the case analysis are pointing to that we need to interact with. Those are parties to the case. So now the case where the desk officer is the one that decide the party to the case, right? And is the one that invite them, right?
Yes.
Go ahead. I'm with you.
Okay. On the particular day, the parties to the case will sit among social workers.
How are those social workers that they sit with? How are they convened? Is there anybody they meet in the office?
No, there are set days for such cases to be handled.
Excellent.
So they come on such days. So, yes. And then there will always be someone recording. There is complaint because time is given to each party to express themselves, telling us the situation on ground, what they have experienced. And at the end of it, we give them time to go back and reschedule because there's always a time to take record of what each party has to tell us. And then we will give them time, not stressing them. They will go and we invite them at another time. Okay. That time we will now begin to look at all they have, one after the other. And then
Good. I'm interested.
where we need to.
Sorry, man. I'm learning from you. You are learning from me. All of us are learning. So don't be angry if I interrupt you.
Not at all.
It just to be sure that we are on the same page. Now you use the word we. We. How is that we convened? How do they select the we?
The
Is
we
it that
is the
every
social
member in the
workers.
office, all of you in the office, when they come, you sit together with them?
Not at all times. There are
At
times
what
when
time
we have
can
to
we
go
sit?
privately.
Okay.
At the point of complaints, they will all sit
Okay.
together because there will be a recorder. There will be social workers who are listening because no one person has the whole knowledge.
Yeah.
Because most of the times we work an environment where people from that culture, from that environment have their culture. Where if matters come into such areas, we will inquire and they will give us answers because most of the times they fought in their culture, which we need to bring back in case of handling in the cost of handling the case. So they will still come, they will social workers, whether they are senior or junior, they will sit on that particular date, at least observing.
Okay, that's
That
interesting.
at another time, at one time they complain, they give us their experiences or what they want to say, because not everything they wrote on paper like a complaint will be enough for them to pour out their hearts. So on that day, we'll take records. After that, we give them time. We will invite them at another time. And when they come, we will try to handle the matter, just few officers who are matured. And then they will sit down and hear
How do
them.
you judge the
Both those
maturity?
who are from that.
Hello, ma. Hello, ma.
Sir,
You just mentioned something
with you,
to
sir.
clarify again. You say few officers who are matured. Do you have a standard parameter for
Yes.
measuring the maturity? Either age, rank, level of knowledge, experience, or what? How do we judge the matured one?
Level of knowledge, because sometimes we know those who are biased, who don't have patience. Not all social workers
How do you
are patient
know
enough
them,
to
ma?
listen to us.
How do you know them?
So, I work with them and I interact with them. I know who can handle matters very well. Those who are patient, who are not biased. Like I have a C-ISOWN who at the initial when she came.
You know you're already biased, man. Hello, ma. You know you're already biased. In your presentation, you're already biased. You're already biased in your presentation. Social workers don't get biased in their presentation. They only say the scientific method for selection. That's why I asked you that question. Those who are mature, say you know them. So they fit into your personal frame of decision. That is bias. You need to set a standard frame that not your personal frame. If you say you know them, it means you are using your own instruments, your personal either juju or crystal ball to look through and pick people because you know them. That is not how it works. So go ahead.
Okay.
I'm just pointing fingers to certain things that you need to look at. So go ahead.
Are they?
We are not hearing you again. Madam Stella, we are not hearing you again. Are others hearing her? Madam Rita, are you hearing her?
No, sir, I can't hear her.
Oh, I think network has actually restricted her from giving us details of what she does. Okay, having heard that from her, she has gone out already. I think it's network. I wish she is back. Because what we are doing in this course is to put us to the table of reality on what casework is, social casework is. Social casework is scientific, is an art. I've been able to take us back to definitions that was done in 1915, and that tells us that it has been in existence long ago. Pre-independence, there's social casework. There have been social case work, and social case work has been in practice. Then, from the period I'm trying to give us the definitions from different authors here. These are scientists from the definition they are actually putting forward. You can see that they read, they studied, and their books. So it's not something we feel how we want to do it on our own. How I wish Madam Stella is back. Because social case work, like I said, is an aspect of social work that has to do majorly with individual intervention. It has to deal with one-on-one or one with two, 2 to 1, 3 to 1. Social case work does not deal with crowd. It doesn't deal with community. It doesn't deal with the larger society. Once we are going that one, that is not social case work. And a social worker may not also be a case worker. It's not compulsory that all social workers are case workers, just like what she is saying, that everybody will sit down. Everybody can be a case worker. Case workers have to be careful, selected based on bias and being good in social work practice. So everybody may not be a case worker. Everybody may not be good at it. Like she rightly said, that they are biased. For me, they are not biased. The only thing is that they are not having interest in case work. So we remove them from case work and place them on another the social work concern that is not case work. And they can also be fantastic officers in those areas. Why those in case work may not also be fantastic officers in this area? But for the director, deputy director, assistant director, their business is to know where each skills can be better deployed, but they are not biased. The only thing is that everybody can be in the same specialty. That is what I'm trying to put forward. But in case of casework has a process, has a standardized process, has a scientific procedure and process to be employed when we are dealing with casework. She made mention of one very fact, that clients come to report. Clients come to report. That is the first stage. When clients come to report, it is not everybody that takes case report from the client. They are usually desk officers, like she said, who are in charge of client report taking. Initial client report is taken by just one individual that is proficient and known to be able to take the report, the account of the report perfectly, giving the clients confidentiality, and then also not providing any form of shock for the client to come and face crowd on first day. If the client is a male, oftentimes the situation at hand, if the preliminary report can tell us whether we give him a male or female. If a client is also a female, preliminary report can give us a understanding whether we give that person a male or female. So this is the number one aspect of the scientific approach. So it's not that when a client comes in, everybody must sit with the client. No, a very proficient person will sit and deduct facts and deduct directions, take everything unbiased and ask just leading questions and ask just clarifying questions only at that stage. You don't ask questions into the case as if you want to resolve the case, because the first client contact with an agency, the client is supposed to be free, given an opportunity. Then the ground is made very comfortable and very, very convenient for the client to be able to download everything that client came with. So the client can face a crowd and do that. That will not work. And after taking the first case note taking of the client is done by one person. And that proficient person, after taking that note, will now report to the agency. The agency is structured in such a way that there's hierarchy in agency. Like, for instance, we have a director. I want to look at your own structure. We have a director casework, or DD casework, or AD casework. We now have chief, one or two chief. We have assistant chief, if that applies to your ranking. We have principal officers, if it applies to your ranking. We now have senior, we have one, we have two, we have others. if that applies to your ranking. From your structure, you must have, when you are coming into that office, you must have known what are the prevalent cases or cases that are always frequent in your area. So you structure the office based on that. This is cohort A, Dex A. This Dex A is for orphan and vulnerable children. This case is for marital issues. This table is for this. So once a person is coming in and that person is identified as a client and is trying to talk about something or making a report, and the report is skewing to a particular desk, the next thing is to tell the person, okay, just hold on. And let me talk with my boss, or let me let you, the person that will handle your case, meet with you. Mr. Alex or Mr. This. In every desk, there are always two, not one or three, which means that if Alex is not there, Nomi is there. If Nomi is not there, Richard is there on that same desk. That desk can handle not just one issue, two or three issues, two or three direction together. So once that is done, that is the first structure of the casework approach. So the first person that gets in contact with the client is getting in contact with the client as an agency, but not as him as a person. So when the client has actually been able to respond to certain clarifying questions, and these things that are recorded in writing, not with electronic. To record with electronic requires that the client's consent will be obtained, not with voice, but in writing. The client should be able to write down that they are permitted you to record him or her electronically. Outside that, the standard is to write down with pen and paper. So when this has been done, the client will be asked to go if that is the situation for the client, and the date will be given for the client for a follow-up or coming back or a return visit thereafter, regardless of how you want to call it. But when this client has left, the person that took that case recording and interface with that client on the first day will now appear before the agency as a whole. That is where that whole you are talking about comes to play. The whole don't face a client. That committee of whole will sit, and each person will now present the clients that they have, the recording that they have done, the interaction that they have done. The agency as a whole don't need to be asking one client questions. They are going to ask the case manager questions. So for every client, there's a case manager. So whatever the person is now presenting, we in the office, like you say, will now sit down, ask him questions. The client said this, what question did you ask? He will tell us the question he asked, and we will now say, oh, that question you asked, the client said this, why didn't you ask this question? He said he didn't ask that one. I said, no, put that down. You need to ask that question. The agency needs to have that kind of response from the client. So you are interacting with the case manager, you are taking up the case manager of the case, and whatever the client would need to know or would need to see or feel, it is imputed in the case manager, who also take the record from that meeting. Then when the client comes the next time, the case manager is better positioned to deal with the client, because he's not dealing with the client from his or her own common sense or his or her own level of knowledge alone. He's going to deal with the client with the level of knowledge that is contributed by the agency as a whole. This is the structure of casework. So every person in the casework team is conversant with every case and how those cases goes, not necessarily being the one interfacing with the clients. If what the case manager has done is not in order, the agency will change the direction by saying, okay, when the client comes next time, you said he should come with a mother. Put a word across that father should join. Because from what you have told us, there's need to talk with the father as well. This is how case management is structured in an organization. For every person that is assigned a client, he doesn't own the client. The agency has the right. Like you are saying now, you can't handle well. I know those who handle well and those who don't handle well. So if you don't handle well, we leave you to collect government money and be playing. It is this agency reporting that will structure who can handle well and let the person be able to know how also to handle, because the rest colleagues will be talking with the person, also improving his capacity as well. This is a process which younger ones are mentored, And then the older ones are also trying to sieve from the knowledge the younger ones are coming in with. Because those coming in as freshers brought in some knowledge, are bringing in some knowledge from their own, wherever they are coming from, to the agency, while they are also to be taught by the agency on the proper process of doing things. So this is where this business these issues come to play. Invariably, what I'm trying to say is that everybody is a party to casework once their business is casework, but then not everybody sit with clients. When we have some instances where more than one case manager will have to see a client, but in that case, the other person that need to join to see the client is actually being determined, is actually assigned by the agency, but not because he is a friend to this person or is the boss of that person. So in conclusion on this discussion, the agency has to be scientifically programmed too and placed, because we need to know who knows what, we need to know who does what. We need to also set up days, like you said. Luckily, you told us that you have days you attend to clients. Social work, social case work is a professional business, and it is done professionally. If you watch very well at the national level, at the federal level, you can see that the federal government moved social work away from women affairs and what do they call humanitarian services to Ministry of Health. A lot of us are arguing, why should we move to Ministry of Health? If social work is not moved to professional practice, we may begin to have issues with it. Because if you take a look, if you go to hospitals, if you have a patient in the hospital, go to hospital early in the morning, you find out that if it's like a teaching hospital, general hospital, not a private hospital where the owner will do whatever he wants to do, in a structured system, you first will have ward round. What does ward round mean? Every party that is in a case who were not party to the case individually, as at when the patient comes in, need to come and see the patient. And who is managing the patient directly need to tell their colleagues what he saw and what he is doing. And they will check the drug he has administered, check the response also, and then give a direction on how that patient's treatment should go. It is same with casework. It's done in a very structured way. Every person do not treat a client. Clients are treated by the case manager. So if we get to a particular bed, they normally ask, who is in charge of this patient? To come forward. And the son was admitted, this leg was admitted about 3 days ago, giving them a prima facie report for them to be able to intervene also into the patient's treatment. So this is the way the social case work worked. It's not working in the other way, everybody sit down and then we talk and we leave. So one person is in charge and that person doesn't do what he or she wants. That person will report the case back to the agency. Agency have period to sit to consider cases. Agency can also change a case manager. They can tell you no longer handle this case. You are moved to this other case. But mind you, in some structured agency, they have people who are experts in case taking. They may not be able to do other work on the client, but they are so fantastic that when the client meets them for the first day, they can take all the cases or everything that has happened from the client. They can ask the questions, take those things, develop a very fantastic file from for the client, and they cannot do further than that. That becomes their skill. So once you identify such people, you place them at the first reception desk. So they are the one to receive the client, do this work and bring into the agency. Agency will now look at the case and then assign to another person who can follow it up. So these are professional approaches in case management. So case is not an individual thing. If you must give a case to a person, if you are also asked by the commissioner, permanent secretary, or a court, you have to say the reason why the person was the best for that case. And the reason should not be known to you alone. The reason must be seen, must be something that when you say it, it is seen, it's on the table. that, oh, this case was assigned this man because this case is about child abuse. This person studied this or did that, or this person has been on the child protection desk for over a period of time. He has done this work, he has done this, he has done that. So there must be justification for deployment of a caseworker to cases. These are the method, and this is how this casework business is being managed. But then, if the agency cannot be following up on those cases, if any issue arises from a conduct of any case manager, it is a business of the head of that team. For every case work agency, there's always a leader, and the hierarchy is made known to every person. And the leader must know how to do everything through others. Did you get me right? If a leader must know how to do everything through others, it means that the leader must know what each and every person can do very well. So if that leader don't know what each and every person can do very well, he is not a leader. Your work is to analyze, understudy, know the capability of each member of that team, so that when you are assigning any responsibility, you assign it right. Do you have any question? Any question or contribution on this?
Hello, sir.
Hello.
That is where I was like trying to come in. Sorry, I was cut off by network.
Okay,
I was like saying that, not everybody, like you said, I was already biased. Like you said, not
by saying
everybody.
that, by saying that you know those who cannot, who are biased. It is your statement that you
Like,
know those who are biased. How do you know them that they are biased?
it's okay. Like I was saying, like you said, not everybody, like like the director should walk through others.
Yes.
And we should know those who can perform, who
Exactly.
can do that is where I come in. Like
Okay.
I was using the wrong language. That is it. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Any comment? Did we get what I've said? Is this process same with what we do?
Not totally, sir.
Good.
There are some places where we are missing it.
Yeah, because it's a scientific method. It's a standard.
Yeah.
It's structured. If you go to hospital, there's no mistake. Who handle the patient on entry handle? Open card. They send to one doctor. One doctor will sit and talk with the person, send to another person. Then when the patient finally is on bed, everybody gather. Every professional gather and bring their ideas to it. And if the patient is not also on bed, is not put on bed, right? Every professional will gather, because there's always a period, a day, 1 or 2 days in a week, that cases in the hospital they are handling are reported by those who handle it. Then very senior people that the patient will not see will contribute to the treatment of that patient, each and every one of them. And what they are doing there is casework, but not social casework. They are doing medical casework. So in a social casework, it is structured that way, and every person's strength is known, and then assign their strength. Then those whose strength are low, we beef up on it, because at a point in time, these directors in the hospital, to those heads to organize some in-house training. It can be 1 hour or 2 hours, sometimes once or twice in a month. But I know in the hospital, there's always that capacity issue, capacity upgrade within. They also respect themselves, because that's another point again with us. They respect themselves. You know what I know what you know. I don't trivialize. You don't also trivialize what I know, you know, I keep it for you. When clients come, I say, oh, how are you? Say, fine. And what is the issue? The client is, okay, well, if it is not a strong emergency that life is involved or life will be involved, the person can be attended to and then give an appointment to meet with the right person who can actually do the right deal for us. Because the work of every person in an agency is for everybody there. Nobody works for himself. Every person in a particular agency is working for the director. The director is the owner of all cases. So if the director owns all cases, he can reassign, he can listen to you, he can change the method, but he won't change the method based on his or her own conception. Because sometimes we listen to a client, after they say, go and do this. That's not how it works. That thing you say we should go and do must pass through a process that everybody listens to. And then you explain yourself and ask somebody like I'm asking you, what I've said now, do we see it that way? You say, no, I don't see it that way. Okay, tell us why you don't see it that way. A superior argument with scientific backing is what we operationalize. We don't operationalize our thought. We don't also operationalize our feel. We don't also operationalize the experience we had before, because experience in social work is key. But then issues in social work are dynamic. The approach that was used last year to resolve a particular case may not resolve the one that appears today. So it demands that we are constantly on the basic of the issues. So having listened to this, you can agree that casework is scientific, casework has a procedure, casework has a process, and what we are doing presently in Nigeria, social work has been professionalized. Client will begin to sue you and sue me and sue everybody and sue the government and sue the agencies. The only thing that exemplify or something that act as indemnity for you, for me, and for all of us is a clear process that was used. So if the process was not clear, people cannot look at it and understand what process we followed, it becomes clumsy in the court, right? A 21-year-old lawyer that just left law school being called to bar will question you. And the first question we'll ask is that what were the procedures that you employed in dealing with this case? And what did you use in arriving at taking this child out of the house? You explain and explain and explain. You need to bring out something. You need to show the process. Like what I'm telling you now is a process. If a case manager manages a case alone and got to the point of going to court, because some of us go to court and go to court also and deal with the case, and it turns around because sometimes they put the social worker on the dock to ask questions. The agency may not be involved. So we need to begin to look at restructuring the casework practice or the casework template that we are using in each of our own agency. Some of us goes to court, but when we go to court, the agency don't know when you go to court. When you come and say, we went to court today, the case was a little bit very tough, and the report ends there. We went to court, that woman, in fact, they just asked if the case end there. By the time we go back to this, our agencies, one after the other, I mean our department, units, and divisions, we are unable to get case notes. We are unable to connect and speak of what happened for 1 year. Those going to court, those doing family, those doing other aspects of community and the rest. This is where the professionalism is actually becoming a challenge. So once we are properly structured, the professionalism will now begin to play. It will come out for us to see. But let's begin to look at the social casework practice from the scientific perspective, because everything we do must be explained. You shouldn't be the only one to understand the husband of this man is a useless man. You must be able to tease out what makes him useless. So another person would listen and say, oh, truly, he is a useless man. To say this child is a stubborn child, should be remanded. You must be able to explain, bring out criteria, bring out the scientific measurement for that child to be declared as a stubborn child to be taken out of home. If not so, the child too, when the child has grown up, he can sue the agency. We are coming to that. A child forcefully taken out of home, kept in a remand for quite a while, and was denied access to family, this because the social workers now saw the child as being a child that is beyond control or beyond parental control. The child grew up and then took that case back. Social workers were sent to jail. Those who handled the case were unable to come out with a file of how they arrive at robbing the child of his own fundamental human right. So we don't really need to look at our work from where we are coming from. This is a new era of business. If you pick the government law on this and take a look at it, we understand that what we are looking at here is a different thing. So we need to begin to think of professionalization, begin to think of structuring our practice, begin to think of making people responsible for what they are being paid for. And then we also need to, like yesterday, I spoke with this class. I let us know that ignorance is not an excuse. I don't know doesn't really make sense on some things they're supposed to know. We need to begin to connect, begin to know how to learn from best practice as well. And more so, like I said yesterday, whatever you have learned and you have known is yours. The government don't take it from you. So invest effort in learning and also knowing. You have any question for me?
Hello, sir.
Hello.
I have a case on ground. I am with you, sir.
Go ahead.
I have a case on ground. One of my staff in one of the local government handled a matter single-handedly, dissolved a marriage within 2 sittings. And the matter came to the chairman of the local government, who is our sponsor, who is funding it. And eventually to the local government service commission, and I was called. And having handled the matter, I made them understand that they asked me a lot of questions. One of the questions that bothered me was that they said, how many people are supposed to be in a sitting when matters are being handled? I couldn't actually get to answer them that question very well, because I believe all social workers, both in training, should be seated when matters are being handled, because they are still learning. So it was a very big case for me, and they said in the court there should be about 4 lawyers, according to them. And eventually, I was thrown off, and they said that we should go and look for, we should go and make sure that the house will get a B to approve, or what number that should be seated before we handle a matter. Now this matter is escalating because of the situation. What do I do, sir?
Great. In the first instance, what you've succeeded in telling me is that you have no structure. Because if there's a structure,
that is exactly.
If there's a structure, they will not call you from local government. You'll be the one to call people. The staff in local government reports to who?
The staff in the local government is supposed to give a monthly report to the HPM, that is the head of administration, who now reports to the chairman. These same reports are brought to the commission.
I think you are not getting it. The staff in the local government is a social worker.
Yes, sir.
If a social worker is posted to local government, right, from your office, right?
Yes, sir.
Or employed by local government and owned by them.
Yes, we are all owned by the local government system. We are employed by the local government service commission.
Good. And they are supervised by director social welfare in the local government.
Yes, sir.
Are you the director?
I am the director. The
At the
matter
local
was not
government?
reported to me at the commission.
Okay, yes, at the commission. That's the trouble. The issue is that the structure is not there. You heard what I was saying, that if this man has right to sit alone and listen, but he can't do anything without the agency as a whole listening to him first. He can't do anything. You can't start a treatment, you can't start a therapy, you can't start any other work. Once you receive a client, you have to clerk. After clerking, you report. Is there any structure like that? Because this is where the issues is getting off. The man is employed to do his work his own way. The director?
A party coming to complain. The
No,
director,
no.
and this same person.
The director is the one that owns the whole cases. If maybe you didn't listen or you were not there when I was saying that every case belongs to the director. No staff, desk officer owns the case. And how is the director linking with the cases? There must be weekly or twice in a week report of every cases that come in through every desk. Even the person that received the case can be reassigned from him. So exactly
Hello,
what
sir.
I'm saying now is that the structure is the issue. Mr. Stanley, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Please go ahead.
In the answer, I think you are very right talking about structure. At the local government level, I don't really know whether there is any legal backing for the social worker there to handle such matters or charge it to court. Because the authority of family welfare matters there as it affects child custody is based on the child right law. And under the child right law, such matters are being handled by the social welfare department at the state level. So I wouldn't really know how the local government staff can come in there to assume duty in such matters.
Then, Mr. Stanley, what's
So
your
you're
relationship
talking
between that
about
staff?
structure there.
No, let's be sincere with you, right? Then,
Yes, sir.
What is on ground that link the social worker in the local government to the state? Because people in the local government will always go to local government.
In every local government, the state has a social welfare officer in charge of that local government that liaises with the director of social welfare at the state level. So
but this local government didn't have that person.
Sorry, sir.
This very local government, such person doesn't exist.
If it exists, I don't know the authority that allows it to exist, because the authority of such matter is based on the law, child right law, which is under the purview of the state, not local government.
But that is what I'm saying. You still get back to the point that the person here don't understand what is going on. That's number one. The person that handle the case is on his own. Doesn't even know what they are doing. The person directing him too doesn't even have an idea of what they are doing. So there is a gap between that structure, that state structure, and the local government structure. How do they receive case in local government? Is it being reported to local government social welfare officers and it ends there? Is it not the state office in the local government that takes such case up? Is the state office in the local government not there?
Sir, there is the state, the local government does not report. The matter in the local government is reported to the local government desk officer, which is social worker there. And the matter is handled there at the local and reported to the
Hello, sir.
No, let's tell her finish.
Going to state.
Okay.
We do not go to state or tell them this is how far we
Madam
want.
Stella, you are saying that the matter don't go to state.
No, we don't.
Great. Mr. Stanley, you
Yes,
heard she
sir.
said that the matter don't go to state.
Why should it not go to state? I don't know. Is he speaking from that state? Because in that state.
So it's still a confusion of structure. You can see that you are disagreeing with her. She's disagreeing with you. I have somebody raise on one of the co-hosts. Please, you can unmute and speak, the co-host.
Yeah. Sorry, sir.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you for all the persons who have.
The network is fluctuating. Yeah.
Mr. Stanley, can you hold on? Okay,
Yes, sir.
Dr. Chere, can we hear you?
I think Mrs. Stella is not getting the structure right. Because when Mr. Stanley mentioned about states, it's the point to the fact that at the local government structure, that the director in the states who is at the headquarters. And there are local government social welfare officers in the local government. And in the local government, they also have structures before cases can be escalated to the states where the director is. Now, when cases are received by a desk officer, there's always HOD in that local government who also can, as a matter of fact, be able to assign the case and then report to the state, which is where the director is. We know that states are many. The director is one in the states, with his deputy director. So saying that matter doesn't come to the state is not doesn't arise. Matters come to the state because the state is where the director is. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. I think, be it as it may, it is not wise in any way for the person in the local government to sit down and take the case, because marriage, the family belongs to state, doesn't belong to local government. I don't know if I'm right. Those in the meeting, am I right or wrong?
You are right, sir.
Hello?
Very right.
You are right.
Very right.
Yes, sir. Very right.
Family don't belong to local government. Family belongs to state. Local government can be also in the corridor of the treatment, but then a case that actually will have a toll on the family must reach the state level. The commissioner for social welfare is actually responsible for every welfare matter for the state, and the state comprised of local government and councils. Am I right?
Yes, sir.
So it's still business of structure that we're talking about. Let's look back at the structure, and those in this meeting are high-level officers. So let's scheme a meeting and then talk about it with ourselves so that they can be understood. It's not proper for that person on his own to be able to take the person to court and then dissolve them. No. It's not proper. And dissolving a marriage, it's not about a husband and wife. There are a lot of people involved in marriage. No marriage is consummated with one person and one person. So it's a state issue, if you ask me, unless the Delta State has a different structure.
No, sir. The structure is the same, sir.
So like I said, our own casework structure within our unit should be done well. They should be professionalized, done in such a way that there are desks, there are people. You heard what I said earlier, that one person can listen to a case, but he cannot decide what next to do. I'm sure you heard me. You can listen to a case as one person. You can't decide further from that one day. After that, you must meet with the team. The team, director, others will sit, you brief them. And they also ask you questions, you answer. They also tell you what is not in what you have presented. They can even tell you to call the clients back and let another person sit with you and then interview well. This is how it is done. It is when the house has agreed on what next to be done. So we are doing the collectivity of the house. This is just exactly what I've just said without hearing your case. When you are doing it, you allow somebody to do that alone. The person is doing what he wants to do. And then the director is not functioning. If this can happen, if a director don't have when the directorate or the unit or the division should be meeting, and then each case on ground, he should know. And person did not report a case, the director don't know how the case came up, and then somebody is in the court. That person should be given suspension. So, like I said, they don't need to even call you from the local government. If they call you from the local government, it means you have slept. Because you are supposed to know before they call you. If I call somebody very below, a supervisor down to ask questions in what he's supposed to know, the question will be on paper. Even when I finish asking you by mouth, the paper will follow you. So we need to begin to look at the business the other way around and understand, like I said, there's dynamism, there's AI, there's internet, there's everything. So all these things we are doing has to also be put in a proper scheme. This is how far we'll be able to go for this lesson today. In the next discussion, we'll be looking at the 7 steps of case management. So we will discuss the steps to be taken in managing cases. So if we have any other questions or comment on this, the floor is still open before we close for the day.
Hello, sir.
Hello.
My
Please go ahead.
question is,
only that your phone is cracking. Can you put up your
yes,
video
I'm really having a challenge.
Can you put
serious
up your video
network challenge? This ad people. The info is from to infiltrating in the network. Hello, sir.
You can off your video. You can strengthen your voice.
Okay. So, sir, my next question is based on look and to bring matters like maybe a situation was arbitrarily denied right, and later when she grows, use the word worker to call for fundamental rights.
In fact, I didn't get you very well. I don't know who have had you could say what you want to say. Anybody that heard him well should say what he said.
Hello, sir.
Hello. I didn't get the question.
Bad.
Are you with me?
The network
we are with
bad.
you, but we're not hearing you.
Yes, they are having a challenge here.
You can send it on chat.
The adverts are infiltrating network here. They add people of Nollywood and all the adverts they are doing. They are infiltrating in the network here.
And that's because you are on video.
Okay. Hello. Can I proceed?
Go ahead.
Yes, sir. So I say my question is based on locus. The locus a child has to. The locus that a child may have to bring a welfare, a social work to court, maybe for sending him to a remand home. when he was small. So I'm asking, when a case of beyond parental control is reported against a child, and the child is sent to remand home, will the child have the locus to sue the welfare officer in future when he grows for denying him the family? Yes.
So what I'm saying is that
him the
yes, if everybody has right to sue, the only thing there is that child a decision of being beyond parental control must be right, must also follow the proper process.
Okay.
If you follow a proper process, it's just like somebody that had an accident, right? They rush the person to the hospital. The doctor amputated one leg. When the person woke up, he sued that the leg supposed not to be cut. The doctor will need to show strong evidence that led to the fact that that leg cannot survive. It's the same thing here. They were trying to save the patient, but the patient said the leg is not supposed to have been cut. The leg could have recovered, it could have healed. So he's suing the hospital and suing the doctor for 50 million, 100 million. Everybody has that right. But the fact is that the doctor that did the amputation will be able to bring out the fact, how the person was brought. X-ray that shows that the leg has gone. X-ray that shows that all the bones were crushed, irreparable. You get what I'm saying?
Yes.
And once all this is taken to the court, the doctor has no case. The doctor can now sue the person again for trying to give him a bad note in his professional business. You get what I'm saying? This happened.
Yeah.
In social work, it happened. So what I'm saying is that if you don't structure well, refine, and put things in proper shape, you may not even remember the child's name again. They look for the paper, they file in the office, they cannot find it. The officer cannot even say what happened that time. Then the person will be right. So all I'm saying is still about restructuring and putting things in order and understanding the fact that we are out of that practice of those days. You wake up, you do what you like, you go to sleep, nothing happened. Now things begin and has started happening the other way around. So we don't have to practice the way we like. That was why I mentioned that.
Okay.
And we are not saying that if a child is beyond parental control, you should not apply what is expected. But the fact is that make sure that that child is actually beyond parental control by all scientific method, but not by you looking at the child, closing one eye and maybe telling the parent you are very stupid. Or telling the parent, I will not go and do that thing you're telling me. There must be a scientific method to arrive at that, and that should be recorded. So anywhere you take that to, anybody looking at that, seeing that too, will say, oh, this child was at that time was beyond parental control. It's not your parent to come and say, I can no longer control this child again. For me to say I can't control the child doesn't make a child beyond parental control. So you must do your own assessment very well.
Okay.
So thank you so much for your time, and I want to believe in the next discussion we move further on this very course. I appreciate you all.
Okay. Thank you, sir.